This was an original story written by me and produced by a studio. In our culture, we tell stories around the campfire to scare children. Stories of genies, ghosts, and ghouls that linger outside the light of the lanterns. These tales have stayed with us, even as we grew older. They remind us that beneath the surface of the world we know, there are forces beyond our understanding that stir in the shadows. And sometimes they brush against our reality and change everything. Most of these stories get passed down from one generation to the next. You know, the legends of mischievous genies trapped in bottles, of evil spirits haunting the ruins of old houses, and of course, the stories about jinn, elemental beings of immense power who dwell in places unseen. We've heard them all before, but every now and then, a new tale emerges. A fresh nightmare that seems to spring from the deepest recesses of our collective unconscious. A story that has been told in hushed voices across the Middle East, leaving listeners shaken and searching for answers. And it all starts with a single ominous phrase: the last call to prayer. Let me take you back to a time and place that feels strangely familiar yet subtly different. Imagine yourself in a bustling city. It looks like a place you might recognize, perhaps Cairo or Amman or Istanbul. But there's a difference here, something you can't quite put your finger on. The streets are filled with people going about their daily lives, but their faces seem distant, almost as if they're living in a dream. And as you walk among them, you sense a growing unease, a feeling that something is terribly wrong. But no one seems to notice. Then the first sign appears. A clock tower chimes, announcing that it's time for morning prayer. But something is off. The call comes too early. As the faithful rush to the mosques, confusion reigns. Imams check their devices and realize it's only a few minutes before the actual time for the prayer. The muezzin, the one who gives the call to prayer, swears he hasn't made a mistake. And so the mystery deepens. Has time itself shifted, or are their senses failing them? This isn't just a minor disruption. It's the first crack in the fabric of their world, a harbinger of what's to come. Because this moment marks a shift from the ordinary into the realm of the surreal. Days pass and the city continues to hum along, but the unsettling feeling persists. People whisper about the strange occurrence of the premature call to prayer. Some dismiss it as a simple error, while others see it as an ominous sign. But no one can predict the magnitude of the event that's about to unfold. On one particular day, the sky changes. Imagine looking up and seeing the sun shrouded in darkness. What should be a clear blue sky is replaced by a gaping abyss. People stop what they're doing and stare in disbelief. Is it an eclipse? No. There's something more sinister at play here, something beyond human comprehension. Peering into the darkness, they see shapes moving, figures with eyes like burning embers that seem to peer back at them. Their forms shift and change, defying easy description. And when the wind picks up, it carries whispers in a language that's older than time. Fear takes hold. People huddle together seeking comfort in numbers, but there's no solace to be found. The sky is a canvas for unimaginable horrors, and they're witnessing the birth of something terrifying. Then the unimaginable happens. The sky rips open. The world as they know it ends right then and there. But even in this terrifying moment, there's a strange sense of calm. A whisper runs through the crowd. Some believe this is the apocalypse. Others find a strange peace in the face of oblivion. So they stand there watching as the sky tears open and waits for the end. Deep within the city, a boy wakes from a dream. He sits up in bed, his heart pounding. He can't remember his dream, but it felt real, filled with a sense of foreboding and despair. Rubbing the sleep from his eyes, he gets out of bed and goes to the window. That's when he sees the sky. It's dark and swirling, and there's something moving within it. The boy turns to leave, but something pulls him back to the window. He watches in fascination and fear as the sky writhes and twists above him. And then he hears a voice. It seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The voice speaks to him, telling him that this is the end, that everything he knows and loves is about to be taken away. The boy screams, but his voice is lost in the wind, and then the sky opens up and the darkness swallows him whole. As the world ends, we're thrown back to the boy in his room. He's still staring out the window, but now he's smiling. The darkness from the sky is seeping into his room, consuming him whole. His eyes glow with an eerie light and his skin takes on a ghostly pallor. He's no longer the same. In fact, he's become something else entirely, something that was always meant to be hidden away from the eyes of men. He beckons with a finger, and when the creatures from the sky enter his room, he greets them as old friends. Together, they disappear into the darkness. Hours pass and the world grows quieter. The bustling city becomes a ghost town. Cars are abandoned in the streets. Homes are left with doors flung open. There's no sign of life anywhere. And as the sun begins to set, the sky heals. The darkness recedes and leaves behind a sky full of stars. The world is silent. And as the first rays of dawn peek over the horizon, the survivors begin to emerge from their hiding places. They look around in disbelief. The city is destroyed. The sky is clear, and there's no trace of their loved ones anywhere. They're alone. And then they start to hear it. A voice calling from a nearby mosque. It's the call to prayer, but it's not the prayer they know. It's different, distorted and echoing with an unearthly resonance. The survivors look up at the mosque, but there's no one there to give the call. And as the minutes pass, the silence grows louder. They wait, hoping for an answer, but none comes. And so they're forced to face the terrifying reality. They're utterly alone in a world that has been irrevocably altered. All this time, the boy is in the mosque. He stands on the balcony and looks out over the ruined city. He's changed his features sharper, his eyes colder. A cruel smile plays on his lips as he watches the survivors below. They look up at him and scream in terror. They know who he is, and they know what he's done. But he doesn't care. He's too busy basking in the power that now surges through his veins. He gives another cry, and the sky responds. The darkness gathers. The creatures from beyond return, and they too revel in the destruction they've wrought. Together they stand on the balcony and laugh. Their laughter echoes through the empty streets, a mocking reminder of the world that once was. So this is the story of the boy who brought the end. The one who listened to the whispers in the dark and answered the call when the sky ripped open. The one who was always meant to be hidden away from the eyes of men. And this is the story of the world that ended with a last call to prayer.